Doris seemed done with her questions for the time being. She hummed around the room, tilting her head at things in a similar manner to Sam when he heard a strange noise. The mantelpiece held her attention for a fairly long time, as it was cluttered with Nan's old trinkets. Doris took to picking each one up in turn and making little noises of wonder. Here and there she muttered to herself in a sing-song voice. It seems as though she had forgot I was even there. Something clicked into place then. Doris must have some form of dementia. This was not a nosy neighbour jumping at the chance to snoop around someone's home, hunting for something to gossip about. Rather, this was a person struggling to hold on to the steadily unravelling thread of themselves. She lacked the cognitive function to see that she was being rude and obnoxious, whereas I was merely an arsehole. Planting the walking stick on the ground for balance, I forced myself up with the intention of offering Doris a cup of tea. She would have to take it black without sugar, and quite possibly without tea, but offering was the polite thing to do. I had violated the social contract enough as it was. I cleared my throat. Listen, Doris spun around again. I could not quite get a read on the expression on her face. It was a smile, but it also very much was not. Her eyes ran the entire length of my body. Silly me, you're not well, are you? I've taken up enough of your time. With that, she was out of the room faster than I could follow with my pained, ramshackle gait. I found her at the back door. Her face was turned down and the light was gone from her eyes. For a moment, I thought she was confused and there was going to be an extremely unpleasant scene. She perked up when she saw me, though, like I'd put a pound in the mechanical man at the fair. Maybe she would grant me a wish to swap my body with someone a good deal sturdier. She lifted her arms and I thought she was going in for a hug. Instead, she cradled my face with both hands. Her skin was not cold as I had expected, but nor was it warm. She was exactly room temperature. Had it not been for the pressure, I could have closed my eyes and not known I was being touched. Perhaps that was the thing that happened to you when you got this old. Nan had not lived to be anywhere near Doris's advanced age. I expected Doris to smush my cheeks like a TV grandma, but to my horror, her hands began to travel all over my face. She hummed softly to herself as her wrinkled palms rubbed my skin. I only just had time to close my eyes before her soft thumbs smoothed over the lids. Her fingertips slid up to my hairline, and then the hands withdrew. I opened my eyes to Doris's enormous grin. I do like that face. I managed a non-committal hum, leaning harder on my stick. I'll be next door when you need me, she chirped. I was fairly certain I wouldn't. As Doris finally left, I watched her trundle down the small path that ran alongside our row of houses. She disappeared into the one next door. Benothinged is about a creature who feasts on lonely, isolated people who have no one to miss them. There's a mask at that point. They're unemployed for however long, they've lost all their family, and right before the Nothing starts to pick on them, they've just lost their dog, who is the last creature on Earth that cares about them. So they're in a very sad, dark place. They don't like their life, but they suddenly find that they have to fight for it. It's about just being at the end of your rope, pushing yourself on when you really don't want to move on. And if there's a message in the book at all, it's that people still matter even if they don't matter to anyone. And that you have to find the tiny joys in life that keep you going. My writing is inspired by the fact that I was a lonely kid with a really vivid imagination, so just creating stories for the things around me that I didn't understand. That was always something I did from a very, very early age, and it's just continued on. And then as I've got older, it's obviously got a bit more structured and intentional, with a unfortunate dose of reality in there. Because, particularly in horror writing, the horrors are all around you and they're seeping into your imagination and you can't get rid of them. So yeah, that is what inspires me. It's an automatic process in my brain. Just a little storytelling thing kicks into gear. And yeah, I don't really know how to turn it off. So it is nice to do it in a formal, structured way that people can read. The highlight of my debut publishing experience has been going to Edinburgh for the book launch. That was brilliant. The launch itself took place at Argonaut Books, which is a lovely shop. But I got to spend a few days in Edinburgh, and I got to go to a few different bookstores. I got to go to the National Portrait Gallery. It's brilliant, just an absolutely lovely time. Wonderful. My favourite book I've read this year is probably Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. That was really good, just really gruesomely creative in the horror, in the horror elements of it. Brilliant protagonist. I just loved how sort of pragmatic she was. There's a bit where her car's in fire and she's in very obvious immediate danger, and she conducts an experiment. She's very methodical. Yeah, I just love how her mind works. And I loved how she just cut her family dead when she realised what they were doing. That was brilliant. Yeah, but it goes to very dark places, that book, but it ultimately ends up very hopeful. And I love that.